Hey guys, just want to do a quick radio show in regards to the fear of creativity. Because there's times when doubt shakes the firmest confidence. It just shows up to the party uninvited. And as creators, we have moods where distrust might creep into the work. And, it's usually in moments where we're tired or stressed. And it's like distrust is that drunk relative that shows up at the function uninvited, and you want to say, "What are you doing? You got to go. We're working on something here. We're handling business. You can't just show up like that, uninvited, acting a fool with your belligerence. Beat it. You don't got to go home, but you do got to get up out of here." And that's sometimes how you got to step to the microphone. That's how you got to talk to doubt. And the thing is if you can't rise above apprehension, it's going to show up in the work as a lack of faith in yourself. And this is only going to increase all those minor defects in your work. But when an artist lets times like these continue to multiply, that's how the potential gets ruined. So if you keep allowing that belligerent relative to run rampant at that function, i.e. your mind, eventually a fight breaks out, the cops get called, and they shut the whole thing down. You can call that writer's block. The function turns into a dysfunction. But faith in your work is more important than money or accolades. Reaching toward spiritual success is what makes the best artwork. Material success is something totally separate from the essence of creativity. So when you sit down to create, your eyes need to be blind to any financial compensation, even though it may be severely needed. You got to tell yourself how what you're creating right now is going to be the best thing that you've ever created. And you got to weave your soul into it, whether you make money from it or not. You got to be satisfied to know that you put everything you could into it. It's the pride in your work that counts. And if you do that, you'll achieve spiritual success. And just like watering a seed brings fruit, a material success will begin to flourish. But you got to keep your eye. On the creative success and not cloud that creativity with thoughts and desires of money. Creating art is the reward. And when you make your own creative work its own reward, that's how you find the first step to true success. And also, in my opinion, the healthier your body and mind, the more easy it's going to be to produce creative material as well. So overindulgence of drugs, alcohol, poor food choices are going to cut things short. Even though they might not seem like they will right now. It happens. And it happens to the best of us creators. And I mention that because I think it's important, but this is not a health video. There's plenty of health videos online. There's plenty of great resources that you can look into on how nutrition helps the brain and, how it helps performance. But this video is focused on utilizing your creativity, eradicating fear. Another thing you want to be able to leverage is using technology, because today we're lucky we have cameras on our phones, voice memo apps, note-taking apps, but also things like whiteboards or even old school chalkboards, which I think is really useful because it activates a different part of the brain. It's just like those mind mapping techniques. Because there's studies that support better memory retention when you physically write things down rather than put them in your phone. But that being said, I think it's incredibly convenient to take advantage of the technology that we have. I mean, I remember when we used to have handheld cameras where you flip open the screen, you go to record, the tape is full, got to go out, buy another tape, or record over something. We're lucky today we get storage in the iCloud and stuff. Now, this is going to be one of the most important things that I'm going to mention right now. in regards to eradicating fear from being creative, and that is exercise. And I mean exercising your creative muscle. Now, if you know James Altucher, hedge fund manager, author, etc., he talks about in his books becoming an idea machine, and he do that by writing down 10 ideas a day. Now, these ideas don't have to be your best ideas. They don't have to blow anybody out of the water, but the whole point is to strengthen the brain, because eventually you're going to come up with some really good ideas. And they don't even have to be limited to business ideas. They can be book titles, ideas for chapters, ideas for YouTube videos, or ideas for movies that you would create, some design ideas. Do you want to design clothing, footwear? Do you want to be an architect? I mean, what is it? The list is really endless, because you'll get to a point where you look back on some of your old ideas and you start to intermingle them. And now you're cooking, because once those ideas have intercourse with each other, boom, you give birth to unique ideas. I'll give you another creative muscle exercise. This is going to be easy because we got thousands of thoughts randomly swirling around in our minds all day long. So, say you have a thought that comes into your mind. It could be one sentence. You write that sentence down, and then you see how many things you can connect to that sentence. And don't be afraid to exaggerate. I'll give you an example from me personally. The thought I had was, I don't like cold weather. That's the statement. Now for the reasons. You got to have artificial heat in the house. It's not natural. No fresh air, windows closed. Skin gets dry and itchy. The days are shorter. Lack of sunlight. Runny noses. Bundling up, wearing all these extra clothes, making it harder to move your body more freely. Slipping on ice when you go outside to get in the car. Sliding on ice while you're driving. Shoveling snow. Getting up extra early to de-ice the vehicle and shovel snow before work, which is inconveniencing more of your free time. Can't break a proper sweat, making it harder to detoxify through the lymphatic system. Your pipes end up freezing in the house. Higher energy cost. The cold and flu. Space heaters on all the time, making it a potential fire hazard. Then you have seasonal affect disorder. People have less smiles. People grinning while they walk by because it's so cold. Their hands are in their pockets. Where's the smiles at? Closed off body language. Now, I could make a longer list of the reasons why I love hot weather, but I think this paints a pretty good picture so far. And as you can imagine, these lists can really go on forever. And all you got to do is get multi-dimensional with the things that you're coming up with, right? So, for example, I like hot weather, and one of the reasons is because I feel my circulation improve. Now, let's take that circulation improvement, and why is it good to have good circulation? Because it improves the oxygen transport throughout my body and blood, relieving sore muscles. Good circulation enhances the delivery of nutrients and helps detoxify the body of free radicals. It's good for the cardiovascular system, which means it's good for your heart, so it can reduce the risk of heart disease and stroke. It helps optimize brain function because increasing blood flow to the brain helps you improve memory and mental acuity. It's going to lead to more stamina, which reduces fatigue. The proper blood flow is going to help you heal faster from injuries because it supplies the injuries with fresh oxygen and nutrients for regeneration to those injured areas. Also, it's good for the immune system. It promotes digestion and gastrointestinal function. Of course, it gives you better sexual function in both men and women. It reduces the risk of varicose veins and other circulatory disorders. Now, you can go over every reason why with a list like that to back it up. It's like, why is it good to get your body used to absorbing sunlight? ... Basically, just go into 100 reasons why. You could do a whole video on that topic. And the next thing is putting emotion into whatever it is that you're creating. You really got to feel those emotions while you're writing or while you're reciting or performing or freestyling off the head. The best art is not mechanical. It's fueled by emotion. This is part of the way that we communicate. People don't even listen to words anymore. The attention span is almost down to 0. Think about it. In this day and age, we have to communicate physically, mentally, and spiritually. It's like we have to use 1,000 different tones and vocal inflections and use sign language and closed captions to get them to understand. So a little bit of emotion with logic is going to go a long way, even when escorting your drunk relative out the door. He'll get the picture. He'll sleep it off. He'll be okay. But you got to understand this. You're one of a kind. All the elements that it took to create you, all the ancestors that it took to create you, all the experiences and lessons that you specifically had to endure, it's valuable. Think about it. Your character will never be repeated. Instead, your unique strengths can influence others or even future generations. Wow, I mean, think about that. If that doesn't inspire you, you might be the drunk relative at the function. But seriously, guys, you have a multitude of ideas constantly running through your mind. And you should be brainstorming those ideas because out of all those ideas, there's a handful that are going to be extraordinary. It's just the way the law of averages works. When you mind map and document your ideas, you'll naturally start to see your strengths rise to the top. You'll start to learn how to embrace your uniqueness instead of being afraid of it. And you'll start to find your true essence. It's like finding a diamond in the rough. So you got to keep digging. Give it a try. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be yourself as far as you can take it. Be the author of your own eccentricities. Embrace that. And the world will respond to your authenticity. I mean, let me break it down because I have a tendency to use too many $20 words. In simpler terms, embrace and put forth your individuality because it'll attract the like-minded. And that's all that needs to happen. Fearless creativity is not supposed to be easy. Things that come easy will leave fast. The only way to gain creative power is through tremendous effort and practice. And this kind of diligence should not be seen as something boring or tedious. It's the process of gaining power over yourself that's the most satisfying. Remember, you're elevating yourself above the masses who rather consume than create. So you're set apart and dedicated to a higher purpose. Look up the word consecrated. It's going to be incredibly difficult to create art if you have a consumer mindset. And it's also going to be very hard to create if you have a conformist mindset. You've got to have the audacity to go into the unknown. And that curiosity to seek knowledge is going to feed the creative muscle. If you're going to create something or express something and you feel timid or wishy-washy, it's probably best to go take a nap first until you feel bold enough to express your sentiment without hesitation. Most of the message is going to be in the execution. So if not properly executed, the message will never get through. So be bold. A lot of people are afraid to put themselves or their artwork out because of what other people are going to think. You know, people may be critical, they may be cynical or even hostile, but that's what they're supposed to do. It's in their human nature. People will always find something to be offended about, and that's their problem. It's not really yours. Because oftentimes, all of these emotions and judgments from others are exaggerated in one's own self-conscious mind. And when you have assurance in your message and you're poised, when you do get criticized or even trolled, you realize that all those assumptions were blown out of proportion. Thick skin is one of the best characteristics a person can have. Not only because it makes you immune to the BS, but it gives you the emotional resilience to create your best work. If you think that you're not naturally confident or extroverted, you got to realize that you're not naturally timid and shy either. We learn these characteristics from somewhere. So get to the root of the problem and dig it up. Change your reality. Stop the cycle of doubt from circulating. And also, associate yourself with other creators and communities who are supportive. There's a chemistry that happens when creative minds get together to build. It's always a win-win scenario. Creators are determined and confident, and they love to inspire. They like the challenge. They like to show and prove. They know that strong minds strengthen each other the way that steel sharpens steel. And they like to use that synergy to create something great and leave a lasting impression. There's a cause behind why they do what they do. And there's meaning in every intention that they make. So I hope some of these things help prevent fear from crippling your creative flow, and they help you tap into your inner power. And if this video helps, let the algorithm do its job and tap the like button. I appreciate you guys for listening. Thank you, and we'll see you again.